We're finally finishing the fin this week. Once that's done, we're going to go and assemble it with the mold. All these steps need to go really well. I'm quite nervous. I'm actually on pins and needles.
A couple weeks ago, we put the second side of the fin on. Bill and I spent a day getting that second side tightly fitted. This was a bit of a trick because the side was overrolled or overbent, so Bill welded on bars and saddles to the fin to wedge and clamp the side tightly to the internal webbing. Once we had the side tightly fit and tacked in place so it couldn't move, we lowered the fin onto its side so that Bill could do the final weld. He had to do multiple passes all the way around the perimeter, plus the inside of the bottom of the fin where the lead will be attached. So Bill, now that this is over, what did you find the most challenging about this fin build?
Well, there are a couple things. One was that our space and equipment was cobbled together a little bit, so we had to go with what was there, like making lifting points and doing your gantry lifting points and trying to figure out how to handle this big piece and be able to work on it from all directions.
Then we flipped it onto its other side so Bill could finish the plug welds. They were all filled with weld to make a strong connection to the internal structure as well as sealing the holes.
And then the most challenging was putting the rolled sides, because they had to be pulled into place.
Especially that second side.
The second side, because it was plug welded and all that. But even before that, the initial thing of fitting the plate that goes against the hull to the hull and getting the bolts in the right place so that it was going to go in and come out.
Everything's super square and
pretty challenging. Took us a lot of time of make sure everything was at the right angle in relation to everything else.
Yep.
Because with all those bolts, what was it, 12?
11.
11 bolts.
Yep.
They all have to be in the same plane with each other to come out of the holes.
Yeah. Yeah, I found the whole thing very, very challenging, and we're extremely happy with how it went, and glad that we hired you because, we thought you did a great job. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was kind of a design as you go project.
Yeah, totally. Lastly, I painted the bottom of the fin where the lead will attach with the POR 15 high temp paint. This is just extra precaution in case any water gets between the lead and the steel. The paint advertises it holds up to temperatures as high as 1200 degrees Fahrenheit, where the lead will be poured at around 700 or 800 degrees.
Okay, so we're finally finished, and now you can work on fending off financial ruin.
I'm working on it. Thank you, Bill. See you tomorrow.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Yeah.
Bye, Bill. Now is where the fun begins. Time to take the keel fin to Brandon's shop to assemble it with the mold. We tried lifting the fin off of the flatbed, but Brandon's little forklift couldn't pick up the fin high enough. So we resorted to sliding it off the truck on a bunch of dunnage. And don't worry, no damage was done in the sliding of this fin.
Look at that.
So your total turnaround.
Okay. All right, we stood it up, and hopefully it will never lay down again. From here on out, it should always be stood up. It will even remain upright going to and from Seattle. The next thing we're gonna do is we gotta weld on a tail piece, and then we can start putting the mold on. So the next thing to do is to block it up so it's level, and then we can put the tail on and then put the mold on.
There was a ton of futzing in this phase to get the fin level and square to attach this tail stiffener.
So this is the tail piece that goes inside the tail of the fin. It's like a stiffener to make sure that the lead doesn't like sag or snap off, basically. So Bill has tacked it in place. Now he's gonna fully weld the tail piece on, and then we can start working on the mold. That's pretty close. So we've got the tail piece welded on, and the next step is we're going to get the mold, the first half of the mold, just square, and then we're going to put the keel into the mold. We're going to just nest the keel into the mold. So yeah, the next step now, square up the mold. It fits.
We're cool.
Yeah.
It fits. That's amazing. You worked hard on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how close is it? It looks really close.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I imagine that a little bit of lead will come up along the side, but
Yeah.
that'll like just chip right off, and
Yeah.
that'll be no problem.
It was very relieving to see the mold fit to the fin. It was another big moment in the project. It even drew a small crowd of onlookers.
I love the AT. Awesome. Yeah, this is cool. We're getting people like stopping the street too to see it.
Alder was enthralled by the forklift. Cool.
Oh, wow.
I'm out of here for lunch.
After lunch, the second side of the mold was put in place.
Towards this way, towards more, right about there, a little.
These bolts are what make this whole thing, this whole mold work. They are clamping the mold together so that no lead will pour out when we pour the lead into the mold. So there's 30 bolts all the way around. They're a bit long just based on like the size, the length I could get. And so I'm gonna cut all these off, but they're very, very tight. You'll notice around the seam where the two come together, it's a very, very tight seam. So we shouldn't lose any lead once we start pouring. The legs of the keel are now going on. These legs are not going to stay on the keel forever. The point is to hold the fin up square to the box and be supporting the fin while we're pouring the lead and transporting it all over the place. And so there's 4 legs and then there's a web between them that prevents them from buckling and stuff. But Bill is now welding on the first leg. And hopefully by the end of the day we'll have all 4 on, and then we can get rid of the forklift, because right now the forklift is holding the fin up. Soon the legs will be what are holding the fin up. Alright, so this is leg number 2. All right, it's 4:30. We're rushing to get these legs on so that we can return the forklift, which we rented. So it's kind of a rush job right now, but we're getting there.
What are you up to next?
Oh, I've got various little projects in metal work and that, but I'm also doing copies of historical harps that I'm trying to get finished, because there's people expecting them, and we're a little bit behind.
To clarify for people, Bill and his wife have a business building historical harps. You build replicas of harps. So give an example of...
Well, we do a wide range of stuff, everywhere from like early Egyptian angular harps to late Baroque triple harps. And it's driven by players who want period instruments to play the music that is from those periods in such a way that it sounds like it would have.
And so you do a bunch of research?
Museum research, talk with players, study history of it.
So how many harps have you built?
Oh, a couple hundred or more.
Wow.
Over the last 20, 30 years.
Cool. That's a very unique business. So check out, what's the name of your website?
Campbell Harps.
CampbellHarps.com. Yeah, see some cool harps.
So this keel assembly is finally done. It's extremely exciting. The past few days we've been getting the mold on, getting the legs on, as you've seen. The next step is to take it to Seattle and have the lead poured. I wanted to clarify a few things before we move on. First of all, these legs
There's a few purposes for them. The first is that when we take the mold off, I'll actually cut the mold away, and then the keel will still be able to stand up and the bulb will be elevated so that I can work on the bulb, get it coated, encapsulated while the whole thing stands up. The other purpose of them is that we're actually using them as a clamp. There will be wedges driven in at the top here to make sure that the mold doesn't kind of split open at the top a little bit where there are no bolts, as you can see. There are a few purposes for them. Before the bulb is, or before the keel is attached to the boat, we'll obviously cut these things off and get it all coated and everything. But for the foreseeable future, these legs are going to be attached to the whole thing. Another thing I want to point out to you are the holes. So there are 5 holes in the mold that are going to be used for pouring. Actually, 2 of them are for pouring. The other 3 are for venting. There's a hole on both sides right here. This is the pouring hole. Once the lead comes up to the black line, essentially, then the mold is full. The other 2 are just allowing air and lead to escape as the thing gets filled up. So, and then there's another one at the tail that Alder is sitting on right here, and that is another just vent for lead and air to come out as the thing gets filled up. Lastly, I just wanted to point out all the bolts. The bolts are clamping the whole thing together so that lead doesn't come out the bottom through the seam. There is a ton of pressure holding this thing together so that there won't be any leaks. Brandon and I are both very confident that this is going to be a really robust mold that no lead's going to leak out of. It's going to be, it's really, really, really cool and very exciting to see it all come together like this. Okay. The last thing I want to point out is the vent up here. This is the plug that Bill welded in. He actually welded in 2 of them. The other one is below the top of the mold. But as the mold fills up with lead, the bottom of the fin will actually fill up partly with lead. And there is nowhere for that to vent except through the keel. And so that vent, and there's another vent down here that won't be doing as much work, will be expelling air and steam probably as the mold fills up with lead. So I know some of you were worried about venting, and that's how that's going to happen. And then after once we go to pressure test it and then seal it up, that vent will obviously be closed. Now I am extremely excited this is put together and ready to go. We are scheduled to pour 2 weeks from today that we're publishing this video. So the next time you see this keel, it's going to be headed to Seattle with 9,000 pounds of lead. We're going to start melting lead with the casting folks. So hopefully everything will go really, really well. If you are considering joining our Patreon community, helping us with the project, you can find us at the Duracell Project on patreon.com. Thank you very much, Gaute. Gaute from Bøde. I'm sure I'm getting that correct, in Norway. He's been sailing his whole life. He's spent some time in the US. Sounds like a very project-oriented person, currently working on a replica of a 1957 Porsche Speedster that he's doing a lot of fiberglass work on. Thank you to Justin and Julie, who live in Colorado. They get to go sailing up in BC this summer. They have also started a music label, and you actually heard some of Julie's music in this video today. So thank you very much to both of them and to everybody who has been a Patreon. We could not do this project without you, and we'll see you next week.